Hey folks, welcome back to part 2. In this segment, I'm going to compare the VL37 with the CV4 that was modified by MicRehab. I'm going to cut tenor on it. I'm not going to record myself cutting the tenor, but what I will do is after the fact, I will do a screencast and use the Euphonics controller to flip-flop between the two tracks instantly, so you get to really hear what they both sound like. Without hearing like a gap where they play back at the same time or there's just silence in between the two. So that'll be pretty interesting to hear the way these two mics sound, like a high-end ribbon versus a high-end condenser. And then I am going to arrange the mics in a mid-side configuration. I'll do two different versions. I will do the CV4 as the mid mic and the ribbon as the side mic, and then I will do the ribbon as the mid mic and the condenser as the side mic. And you'll be able to hear the different ways that these affect the way the horn sounds on the tape, and it's just a really cool way to capture the horn. It's different than using just a straight condenser or a straight ribbon. It gives you, you basically capture the sound that the player hears when they're playing the instrument. So yeah, I'll demonstrate that and we'll get to hear both configurations. So anyway, thanks for checking it out. Let's dig into it. Okay, we are back. I have finished cutting the saxophones on the tenor, each mic separately and then in the different mid-side configurations. So let's take a listen to them. I'm going to start with the VL37. I got this thing here. I don't have a desk for it yet. Sitting on my lap, so I can just blip blip and it'll just straight toggle the mics like that. Alright, so let's give her a listen. I'm going to take a little listen to that spot right there because there's some percussive stuff that I'm playing, the way I'm articulating the notes. So, check out the transients right there. The tenor sounds way raspier on the CV4 than the ribbon mic, that's what ribbon mics do. They just smooth out horns to make them sound awesome. Okay. All right, so that's a cool vibe of what those guys sound like separately. Let's check out the mid-side stuff. Let's see, here's this. Okay, so this is with the CV4 as the center mic or the mid mic, and then the ribbon mic as the side mic. Now, all I do is I just set up a stereo track, and then I use Waves S1 Imager, and I plug in on my interface, I plug in the center mic to input 5 and the side mic to input 6, and then I just set plug in to mid side, and that's all I have to do. It's super easy. So let's give that a listen. We'll play it from the top. This is the other thing you got to worry about when doing mid side stuff is you got to balance the mics to make sure that they're outputting the same signal level. You can see here that the center mic is significantly hotter than the side mic, but that's to be expected. The signal is coming straight into the center mic. It's got to bounce off the walls and then come into the side mic. So anyway, let's give this a listen and just check out what it does. I'll play the track with it. So there's significantly more room. This is the CV4 all by itself. This is what that right there. That's what the VL37 was picking up in my room. I'm just in my living room. I've got a cloud treatment on the ceiling, and then there's a bunch of junk in here like couches and bookcases and stuff, but it's not that great. But once you have it in this configuration and you can dial this in, check out how it adjusts the sound. Okay, so that's a really cool sound. To me, that's what I sound like. If I kind of put it in the middle at like, 1-to-1, that's what I sound like to myself when I'm just shedding in the room. So that's if you're ever dealing with horn players that are like, man, I don't sound like what I think I sound like, this is a good way to help them feel like they sound like what they sound like. And then when they're done taking their solos, you can just kind of pick and choose if you want them to have that like super direct sound or whatnot, or if you want to have it more of a roomy type sound. Okay, so that's what that sounds like. Let's switch these guys out with the why is that muted? With the we got the ribbon mic now is the center mic, and the CV4 is in figure 8 mode. Okay. So this is right now we're listening to just the VL37. Creamy. I need to practice a lot. That was very sloppy. Okay, so there you go. You get an idea of what you can do with the ribbon mic or any mic that's got figure 8. So the VL37 is awesome. I think the big takeaway from this is that the Apogee Symphony's fan is super noisy. I'm sure you can hear it being picked up by the microphone I'm speaking into, which is just absurd. I'm probably just going to open it up and disconnect it because it's so freaking loud. That's the one thing I noticed about the VL37. It is a ribbon mic, so when I am playing when I'm playing this direction, the back of the microphone is picking up all of the noise that my computer and my interface makes, which is fairly significant when I have singers around. Thankfully, saxophone is pretty loud, so usually I don't have to have a lot of gain, and that kind of helps a lot with the CV4. The CV4 does not need a lot of gain. I have a pair of Easy 1073 500s from AML. When I'm using the condenser mic with my saxophone, I literally just have it on like the lowest, as far down as it can go, and maybe one tick higher. When I was using the VL37, I had to have the gain up around 50 or 55 or so. Like, ribbon mics need a ton of gain, so you got to make sure you're using a quiet room when you're tracking with them. So there you go. That's a pretty awesome review of this mic. I think it sounds awesome. Probably going to try to pick one up if I get some cash in the next couple months. All right, thanks for checking that out. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe and continue to just check out all the shenanigans I'm doing on my channel. Thanks. Okay, so I've got these guys set up in mid-side. I already cut the CV4 as the center mic. Now I'm about to do this guy, the VL37 as the center mic, and this is the side mic. I've got them, as you can see, kind of angled the way I would if I were playing sax. Kind of pointing at the bell a little bit. So it's a little tricky, you know, you got to jury rig it a little bit. The last thing to do, if you have a mic that has Omni, you just got to set it to figure 8 mode. Once you're done there, got it on figure 8. And then that's it. So just play into it. All right, so adjust this over just a smidge.